Hi, it's Jennifer Smith, and as a marriage and a relationship coach, I often think about communication. So that's what's been on my mind today. And this video is titled, Will you regret something you've said on your deathbed? And I have a couple questions for you first. So, have you ever done or said anything that you regret? And have you ever done or said anything that probably hurt the relationship rather than helped the relationship? Well, we all have. Of course, we all have. And recently, my mother was actually concerned about something that she had said to her sister. And as we get towards the end of our lives, we think a lot about things maybe we haven't done or we have done. And she was having some regret before she passed away recently, remembering a story that happened with her sister. And one day she had interaction with her sister, and the last words that my mom said to her sister Hope was, "I hate you." Can you imagine the last words you say to a loved one? "I hate you." Out of, the emotions and the anger that we might feel, we may say things that we really, really regret. Now, my mom is a sweetheart. She is a kind, kind soul. And I'm sure she didn't mean that at all. And I'm sure that with this beautiful reunion with her sister that she's had recently, that her sister embraced her and has forgiven her, and it's all good. But we don't want to go all of our lives regretting things that we say, right? And so I want to talk a little bit about communication. Now, first of all, words are only part of it, right? Words are just part of it because we have a lot of other things like body language that come into play. So imagine talking to someone and you've crossed your arms and you kind of have your eyes squinty, okay? So that's not a kind way to communicate. This finger thing, pointing at someone, is not a kind way to communicate. So body language can show a lot in how we're communicating. My husband was awesome the other day because we were having a little bit of a tense moment, and I think I asked him to help do something even though there was a little tension, and he stopped. Then he just smiled and said, "Sure." So it was really awesome of him. A lot of great control with his communication there. So body language is huge. Tone of voice affects our communication to others. So imagine that there's this little puppy dog, and you're saying, "Wow, you are such an ugly little dog. I just hate your guts." But that puppy is going to wag his tail because you have this loving energy and pitch to your voice. And the reverse can happen. We can be saying mean words, we can be saying nice words with a bad tone or energy to our voice. And sometimes we use sarcasm. Sarcasm hurts. Sarcasm is not a fun way to make jokes at the expense of other people's feelings. And so that would be maybe an example of how our tone of voice could come into play. So the other thing with communication is the intent or our feelings and thoughts behind what we're saying. Now, if we're only concerned about ourselves and not trying to truly understand the other person, then our ego might be in the way with our communication. And I heard an acronym the other day, EGO, edging God out, and not treating people with love, compassion, kindness, and respect because we're thinking all about ourselves and what we want from the situation instead of calming down, taking the time to really try and listen, which is another big part of communication, and understand where they're coming from. So I have a few tips for you, and I would love to hear your tips below here. comment how you keep yourself from doing or saying things that you regret. So we're talking about verbal communication here. And so first one is simply think a little bit before you speak. So many times in a conversation, we're thinking about what we want to say in response to what they're saying, and we're not slowing down and just thinking before we actually speak. And so there's some emotional self-control there. And then the second tip is to breathe. To breathe. And I recently read an article that says the exhale is as important, or if not more important, than the inhaling. We want to fully exhale, and that actually feeds this vagus nerve that helps calm down the stress response, the fight, flight, or freeze response. So breathing deeply and breathing all the way out. However you want to do that, there's lots of techniques out there, but take a little breathing before we speak, right? And then my third tip for you today is the old-fashioned count to 10. Count to 10, and then that will give you time to calm down and not say something that you're truly going to regret, that's going to hurt that relationship. And last of all, I just wanted to mention that we can always remember Thumper's famous line from the Disney show Bambi: if you can't say nothing nice, don't say anything at all, right? So anyway, share your tips below, how you communicate kindly and calmly. Love to hear them, so that you don't do or say something that you regret, that on your deathbed you have to have that feeling of, oh dear. So have a super great day. Catch you later. Bye.